am Orlando Jones, and I just want you to know that the Moana Nui podcast will be starting soon. Stay tuned, yo.
I'm Veronica Taylor, and from myself and Ash Ketchum, I just want to say, Moana Nui, I choose you!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Moana Nui After Dark presents Whatcha Watchin. Tonight, we will be discussing Echo from Marvel Studios, 5-episode TV show, and season 2 of What If. We'll begin by bringing in our panel for the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing?
Great. Doing good.
Pretty good.
All right. So overall, what did we think before we get into the separate discussions? Overall, what did we think of these two shows?
I like them both.
Yeah, absolutely.
I liked them both.
Mm-hmm.
And I just finished What If like 45 minutes ago.
All right, well, let's begin with Echo. So 5-episode show. We finally got it because it was delayed for reasons. If you've been keeping up with Marvel and all the background shenanigans, you know that this went through a bit of rigmarole before it got released, to put it lightly. But we got 5 episodes. I did thoroughly enjoy it. I liked the depth into the indigenous culture of the characters. Not just Echo herself, but the community she grew up in. Her background story was wonderful. There were some surprise and twists along the way in the first couple of episodes. I was not expecting to see the man in red. But it
makes sense.
It does make sense considering who the villain is in this show. For those who have missed things before Echo, if you did not see Hawkeye, do yourself a favor, watch that show. Furious.
I had a really good time with Echo. The one thing that I wish they would have gone a bit more into were the origins of and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, the Choctaw people, because we kind of got a glimpse of it, but I'm still left wanting to know more, because, you know, it looks like they were in some sort of underground cavern, and then something happens, and then they reemerge as humans on Earth. What was the thing that happened? Where were they before they were on Earth? Like, what are their powers and abilities? Because we got to see a little bit of that with Echo throughout the show, but I'm just wondering, what is the full extent of their power? And just to dip my toe a little bit into What If season 2, was that more origin on the Choctaw people than they were able to do with Echo?
Possible.
You know, I didn't even put that together. I didn't even put those two together. But that.
Is there some sort of tie-in that we'll see? Because you know how Marvel likes to do. They'll breadcrumb you a few things here, breadcrumb you a few things here, and then 20,000 years down the line, they give you something that's a much more deliberate packaging to tie it all together. And I'm hoping that they do, because like I said, I mean, granted, I know I could go Google it and just look them up myself, but I want to see the Marvel origin and how that all ties into things. But yeah, that's probably the only downside I have to Echo, is not getting to see more about the Choctaw people, and the fact that it was only 5 episodes. I want more.
Teresa.
Okay, well,
go ahead, Simone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, T.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so you. don't be mad at me. I'm happy that it was 5 episodes. I'm just happy that it was 5.
Well,
I'm happy with the show.
Mhm.
I like the show. I am extremely proud of the background that I am seeing women of color and how powerful each one of them were, where the men, it basically showed that each generation, the men were the ones that was dominant, doing the killing and the
hunting and
hunting, and then here comes this woman who can do it better. So that I enjoyed. And then at the end where she pulled them all together, where she, they all standing behind her, and then that's her power. Now she's a mutant.
Okay.
Is she?
I believe she's a mutant. She's not human. She's not human.
So is this a statement or a question?
Both.
Okay. Now
I'm putting it out as a statement, but it's also a question.
The only reason I'm sorry, Latoya. I will definitely get that out to you. I will make myself a note and I will get those out to you. I'm so sorry. I just life started lifing. I'm sorry. Yeah, life started lifing. I'm sorry. But Simone, the only reason I asked that question is, if she's a mutant, does that then make all of her people mutants? Because they all have
not all, only the women.
Okay, fair.
Only the women. And
well, are you sure about that?
Yes.
And again, this is just me slightly dipping my toe into What If season 2. It wasn't just the women.
The men in the underground, because they fell through, then yes, they received the power because they fell through. She was born. That is completely different.
Fair. That's fair.
It's completely different. They fell through the lake. The lake gave them the power. She was born this way.
Okay.
So we don't understand what happened to where she was holding up the ceiling and then everything collapsed. How, even in What If, where did that lake come from?
Yeah.
How did that lake get generated? Was that generated because what she did? We don't know.
Fair. That's fair.
So to me, it's because they fell through the lake. She was born that way.
Okay.
And I'm that's the hill I'm going to die on. She's a mutant.
Does that also then mean that her grandmother and her friend are mutants as well because of what happened in the cousin? I'm sorry, in that last episode.
I saw that they got powers now. And I believe the grandmother knew about the power and her mother had it. So
because they talked about the visions.
Yes. So, and the grandmother stopped making the suit for her.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't for her, but it was just a suit in general.
Yeah.
So
it seems like women of the line, of her familiar line, pretty much. And it's not every woman, because again, her grandmother didn't have it, but her mother did. I think like her grandmother's sister had it. I believe was what she was referring to, like as far as like that generation. So like every generation, a woman in their family, in their familial line gets
will
some
have
of
it.
Yeah, will manifest some abilities. So
I think because she was there and she embraced all of them, that she was able to share the power with the other two because they were in the vicinity. Do they have it after she's gone? I don't think so. But again, the grandmother said, when you need it, it will appear. Right. So who knows?
So since this is the hill you're willing to die on, I'll plant my flag and say she's not a mutant.
Okay. Okay.
Obviously, we won't know until something else happens, but let's just get it on record. I'm planting a flag, not a mutant.
Okay. So when I bury you, when we find out that she is a mutant,
hey, I'm okay being wrong. I have no issue if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I will be like, hey, it was me. I was wrong. I got no problem with that.
Yeah, and when if I'm wrong, I'm just gonna deny it.
Teresa,
Yes.
your thoughts on Echo?
Once again, I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way they did her backstory.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is what Marvel should stick to as far as making the TV shows like backstories, introduction, kind of build up for individual characters before they get put into the MCU proper. That's what I think, because I think that they're trying to do too much. And one way to scale it down is to use the TV shows for what needs more, like episodes or whatever. Build this storyline, introduce this character or whatever, and then pop them into the MCU. And that is what I think Echo did well. We got to see, where she came from, her whole family line. And I love, once again, how I'm not Native American, so I don't know if they did it fully correctly, but I haven't heard any uproar about them, bastardizing the stories or whatever. So it looks like they did a good job of introducing this person of color and where she came from. I like what they did with Miss Marvel, and really with the black people of Wakanda. How the cultures. I like the way they build up the cultures and introduce the cultures, even if some of the other fans who are not seeing themselves in these characters, don't. So I enjoyed Echo. Was it my favorite thing that Marvel has done or even done recently? No. But I think for what it was good. And I also enjoyed, I also enjoyed, the way it built up to her and her powers manifesting and her being able to share them with the other women and kind of, nip this whole mess in the bud together. I liked that.
Okay. You mentioned, I know you and Simone both mentioned the 5 episodes. So Marvel has done some course correction. The way these shows were coming out were pretty much fast and furious, for lack of a better phrase. And hey, Joy. And it was a little, it was basically too much, too fast. And the quality of some shows did suffer. So yes, Echo didn't get to week release like all its predecessors did. They did a 5-episode dump on a day and was like, here, enjoy this. But they did that in such a way to say, this is the end. Echo is the last short series we'll get. Because if you look back through everything else, whether it was Hawkeye, Captain America, Winter Soldier, Ms. Marvel, Moon Knight, all those shows were 6 episodes. Granted, they were average runtime 50-ish minutes to an hour, but they were all 6 episodes. So yeah, I was surprised Echo only got 5 instead of 6. But going forward, the time will be put in to properly tell full seasonal arcing stories, as opposed to here's a 6-episode dump, either all at once or over the course of 6 weeks. And we're going to take our time properly telling the stories. Because yes, if you look back at some of the other things, even though they were enjoyable, I loved Hawkeye. I absolutely love Ms. Marvel. Easily one of my top 3 series. But you could see the rush in the storytelling to get from point A to point B, even if it was just to set them up for a movie they were going to appear in later, or to tie in something from, a movie that they had previously appeared in. So you could tell that there was a rush in the storytelling. So I do appreciate that they are going back to. Go ahead.
I kind of disagree with you on that point, only because now granted, there are a couple shows that I haven't watched. Like I haven't watched Hawkeye because you know how I feel about superheroes who don't have powers.
Your life.
But with the Marvel series, the thing that I like is there's no wasted time from opening to ending of the show. Every moment is important. Even if you go back and look at WandaVision, a lot of people complained about those first 2 to 3 episodes about how slow they were. But if you go back and you really watch those episodes, every shot, every frame was setting up something for later episodes. So that's one thing that I may not completely disagree with you, but I partially disagree with you only because, in my opinion, every minute is utilized and not wasted.
That's fair, but you don't have to cram everything into 6 episodes. You can do the same within 8 to 10. And I feel like that's a better number. Not to, tote the competition because I like to cancel everything after one season, but Netflix shows every season is, the good ones, you get 8 to 10 episodes a season. And you're still getting quality along the same runtime of 8 to 10 episodes, even at an average of 45, 50 minutes a piece. Joy, your thoughts on Echo?
I really wanted to like it more. I also felt like I was like, that's it. Is it a second half? Is it 5 and then 5 more? Like, what are we doing? Why? And then when I first saw that it dropped, I was like, they put all 5. Okay, well, must be another 5 coming. And so I watched it kind of negligently, like, all right, great. I think I was more interested in Wilson Fisk than I was in her. And so for me, I'm just like, okay, it felt like filler, even though a lot of people liked it. I was just kind of nonplussed by the whole thing, which I felt bad about because I feel like as a woman, I should like a woman front runner, front lead character. But I liked What If better than I liked Echo.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm glad you brought in Fisk because, and you guys know me, so this should be no surprise to you. One of my absolute favorite scenes is when he beats that dude to death in the alley for teasing and taunting Echo as a child.
Yep.
And then he gets on the phone and is like, I need a new jacket. I don't want her to see me like this. And she's been standing there watching, and she goes over and kicks the dude a couple of times. That is my all-time favorite. I love the fact that it's like, to me, that's kind of a foreshadowing of the fact of, oh, she gonna be fucking shit up. Because she was not afraid
for violence.
Yeah, she was not at all fazed by watching that dude get beat to death.
Like Azula in Avatar. I'm sorry, that's probably a different show. Never mind. How you watch your dad burn your brother in the face and be like, oh, she's crazy.
Oh, you need to watch the cartoon because she was a little bit more animated than that.
I watched all the seasons of the cartoon. I'm just saying, like right now. Anyway, I've got off track. We're not talking about that today.
Okay, what's the timeline for this? Because the way that it ended, I'm like, he's going to run for mayor. So is that the beginning of Daredevil?
Maybe.
Like the very not season 1, because he wasn't running for mayor in season 1, but one of those seasons.
Oh, you mean from the Netflix show?
Yes.
No. So all this takes place after the Netflix stuff. So like, and Marvel's kind of being a little tight-lipped as far as what those Defender shows, how they fit into everything. Because they said they do. They do.
I said because they don't, it's gonna be hard to fit them in because wasn't Wilson Fisk in jail at the end of that season of Daredevil?
Season 2 Daredevil, yes, he's in jail. Or he's getting arrested
So
to be
how's he
taken
running
to jail.
for mayor after that?
He's
how's
Wilson
he running for
Fisk.
mayor after that?
Yeah, but he got out.
He's Wilson Fisk. He got out.
But I mean it's all, well, you know, who am I to say that we want to elect a felon into public office?
Let's hope we don't again.
Real life.
Right?
We have them.
I mean, Wilson Fisk has only been mayor of New York in comics like what, 3 times or something like crazy like that. So yeah, the Netflix stuff is it fully canon into our visual media of MCU stuff right now? Yes and no. It's more like it's an alternate Earth, if you will. So it is and it isn't.
Okay.
But some of those events will probably be pulled from when they do, you know, when Daredevil does eventually come in.
Yes, that gives them the ability to pull from them because they gave it to us.
They're already there. They're set up. And, you know, we already know that the principal actors from the Daredevil series are coming back to reprise their same characters. So those 3 will be returning. As far as the other shows, nothing's been said really. I think maybe Ritter will be reprising Jessica Jones. I think that's about it. We know we don't want the dude who played Aluminum Wrist to come back.
Absolutely not.
And Mike Coulter is just twirling his thumbs in the wind right now. So, I mean, people are pretty much hit or miss on him as far as Luke Cage. But going back to Echo, the first episode, the first 20 or so minutes are pretty much flashback, a combination of her upbringing and the events of Hawkeye. So when it got to a point to where before we even got to the events of Hawkeye, and she's on her first assignment for the Kingpin, and Daredevil pops in, yeah, my jaw hit the floor. Because
that was cool.
I was not expecting, like they said, this is Echo, this is her story. We knew Wilson Fisk was going to be there. Kudos to them for keeping their mouth shut about this dude showing up, because he popped through that window and was like, I've been looking for this place all night.
You know what? I wonder, some part of me is like, that was cool. Another part is like, why they always got to throw Daredevil in the girls' show? Because he was in She-Hulk too, getting smashed.
Well, if we go look at Daredevil, in the comics, there's a certain aspect of his life that's not much different from Tony Stark.
That is true.
Okay.
He is a man whore.
That he has definitely been around the block a few times.
He been ran through.
Yeah, he has.
The comedy,
there's probably a Shield database about it.
the comedy aspect of it, I enjoyed the cousin. He was funny as hell. I enjoyed him.
Yeah,
I agree.
That made me like the show.
Biscuit was
Wilson
great.
Fisk and the backstory. I'm a big person on backstories. I really enjoy them. But the cousin was driving the car, and the grandmother looks, and he just chugging along.
Every family has a biscuit. Every family has a biscuit. And if you're not sure,
if you don't know who the biscuit in your family is, you might be Biscuit.
You might be Biscuit. But yeah, Biscuit was hilarious. I like the tension that was played up as far as the wait before Echo and her grandmother finally did talk.
Yeah.
Because that was 3 episodes before they finally did see each other. They were just, aware, or her just pretty much dodging her grandmother at every moment that she could, like, oh snap, grandma's over there, let me duck.
See, now that aggravated me a little bit. I was like, girl, just stop. We'll stop with the avoidance. But that's just me. I like to face stuff,
But let's be real. All of us growing up, you get in trouble, you avoid mom and dad, you'll tell grandma and grandpa. And yeah, so to your point, Joy, that was a little weird because it's like the bond we typically have with our grandparents, growing up is kind of like.
But she didn't have that because she.
Right. Because she was pulled out early. Her father took her to New York, so she had it for a little bit, but not when she needed it.
But her father also put in her mind at a very young age that her grandmother was the reason for the downfall of her family.
But still, why not confront her about that? She right there. I'm boss. I'm squaring up on Granny.
I mean, but it was like in one of the episodes where she made the point of what was it? Essentially, why is it the child's responsibility to reach out to the adult? And I get that.
Fair.
Now, whether or not grandma had an actual method of communicating with them once they went to New York, who knows? But, again, the father put the poison in her mind, and then she, as a child, internalized that and is like, well, hell, I don't like you either.
It's fair.
Any other standout moments throughout the show that
I love the fact that Roxanne runs the gas station. I love the fact of all this lore from other Marvel characters, because when I think of Roxanne, I think of Thor. And so I love how you got all these other little pieces of the Marvel universe spread out. Because if you don't know who Roxanne is, you would just see, oh, that's just the random gas station that they got going on. But, in the comics, Roxanne is a constant environmental terrorist.
Menace.
And and they always seem to have some kind of run-in with Thor. So I enjoyed that. I just thought that was a pretty cool little nugget for them to just kind of casually go by a couple times.
Yeah, and this is not what Roxanne has appeared in. I want to say at least 5 to 7 different movies and at least 3 of these shows.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So Roxanne has been making the rounds in the background, and again, it's one of those Easter eggs that, like you said, Fierce, for those who know. It's like, oh. And yet we haven't gotten anything else about them other than, it's a multinational corporation, akin to Umbrella, sometimes rival of Stark Industries, that's just out there doing their thing. And they just exist. we haven't had the privilege of any entities from Roxanne making an appearance yet.
Not yet.
Yet, it being the key word. Simone, any other surprises? Anything that stood out for you?
The context for where he was able to do the sign language, I like that.
That was cool. I am always enamored by the imagination of technology in the visual media, whether it's comic book shows or even sci-fi. But that I thought that was very cool because as he was speaking, he could, she could see the sign, being enacted out in front of, because at one point he was learning ALS, through as you're watching through her background. He has the interpreter early on, who he fired.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, so she took an early severance to leave. Probably not the way I would want to, quit my job, but she was relieved of her duties and then her life. And then
I'm not understanding that.
Because so she was killed because the discussions that he was having in front of Echo with the interpreter present was about business. His shady business, if you will. He was basically telling her who to whack, who to take care of, who to silence, who to bribe. Like he was telling her everything, and the interpreter is signing this to her.
Interpreter gotta go.
Right. So
if she ever gets pulled in court, she's a witness.
She is a witness. She is a loose end. And as much as
it's not hearsay because she was actually there.
Right. And as much as she was screaming and pleading, like, I won't tell anybody.
I know you won't.
And yeah, Latoya, the slow kick was that was nice. See, I never saw the Cloak and Dagger.
Cloak and Dagger.
Yes, it was in Cloak and Dagger.
I never saw the series.
It was good.
It was good.
For the time.
It was good to a point. They jumped the shark, though.
It did get stupid at some points, but yes, it was definitely.
Is it still worth watching?
The first season.
Okay.
Yes, the first season.
Exactly what she said.
Roxanne is pretty much how they become Cloak and Dagger.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's all I'll say about that. But
yep, we're on Echo. We're on Echo.
But yeah. So Teresa, any other surprises for you or things that stood out in Echo?
Not that I can think of, but it has been a long time. You know how my mind is.
Look, T-shirt Tuesday was yesterday. I'm gonna need you to.
I remember the T-shirt from T-shirt Tuesday. I just don't remember Echo because it was a couple of months ago. Yeah, I mean, what Simone said with the contacts, the sign language. Yeah, that was cool. But I also like the fact that she pointed out after they wrestled her to the ground and held her to stick the contact in her eye, she was like, you still couldn't even bother to learn. So he did what he thought was communicating with her when in actuality it was, wrestling her to the ground, holding her down and forcing the thing in her eye and not learning ASL himself. So I thought that was a poignant point.
True indeed.
You force something on me to keep yourself from having to stretch or be better.
Right. Remember, this is your idea of meeting halfway.
Right. It's to hold me down and stick this in my eye so you don't have to do nothing different.
Right.
And notice the moment he left, she took that contact right out because she knows how he operates. Like, yeah, it's probably got a GPS in here or something.
Right. Right.
All right, Joy, final word on Echo before we move on.
You were saying what surprised you. I'm going to be a little more meta about it and say what surprised me was the lack of advertising on this when it came out. Like, I couldn't get away. I know you like Miss Marvel. I couldn't get away from the damn advertisements, and I didn't like that show that much. When Black Widow came out, and granted that was a full-length feature movie, but I saw it everywhere. WandaVision. They had teasers, they had secret trailers, all this other kind of stuff leading up to it. She-Hulk had a lot of buzz. I heard nothing about this until it was already a month out. And I feel like that was a disservice to the show. That's what surprised me, is that they wouldn't put the same marketing dollars behind this as they did Daredevil, if you will.
Fair. The marketing for this was very limited. I remember seeing trailers and teasers and things in various programming I was watching, but once the show came out, it was like, it's out now. Y'all be okay.
Right. Where was the day after the discussion and everything? I think about the Instagram reels showing clips. I didn't see any of that. I'm still seeing clips from Spider-Man Far From Home. Right. Why am I not seeing clips of Echo, of the slow kick, of something to say this show is worth watching?
The question I would raise is, does anybody remember how much time was in between the end of the strike and Echo being released?
Couple of months. Echo was released the beginning of January. The strike ended November.
Okay, so they had they had time.
They had time.
So
good question.
Yeah. All right.
I only raised that because of something that came up earlier when I was talking to somebody about the Marvels.
Okay. So that'll close out our discussion on Echo. Let's move on now to What If Season 2. But anybody who knows me knows that I love animation. So I virtually have nothing negative to say about this show at all. So I'm gonna start with Simone because she has a list.
I just got a lot of notes. Okay, so each episode, I have to say first 2 episodes, I really wasn't feeling. I was happy about Nebula. I really liked that one. But after Peter Quill, I was like, I'm not gonna watch this anymore. But then I was like, nope, don't do that. Don't do that. Give it a chance. Then the Happy Hogan one, I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't give it a chance.
Yep.
Iron Man, I kind of like that one.
Because you like the characters, yeah.
Fighting with the Grandmaster. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, Iron Man, you still being a jackass.
Mm-hmm.
I like Captain Carter, Black Widow, BFF friendship.
That was a good episode.
My favorite episode was Hela. Episode 7. 7 and 9 were my 2 favorite episodes.
Ooh, nice.
I like that redemption arc.
I really appreciated Hela. But I also liked how each episode linked each other.
Yeah. Which they kind of did in the first one, but they were more intentional about it this time.
Yeah, because they all at some point, you know, Captain Carter was taken and she's in 1692 or what is it, 1602.
1602,
and
yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, well, what the hell? And you know, it was I just enjoyed every episode, and seeing Hela turn good. I'm like, oh wow, it was like that. You gotta be feel the right moment, and I stripped you, and you know, like her brother stripping him, and then he finds the truth and everything, and she got her helmet back. So I appreciated everything. I'm just confused as to the Strange.
How did he get out of there? Wasn't he supposed to be watching that universe?
He was supposed to be watching the other 2.
He was watching Killmonger and Ultron.
And Ultron fighting. And I'm like, so what made you... That's the only negative thing that I don't like about season 2 is what made him...
What set him off? Because he was all penitent, and I know I did wrong, and this is my penance, is to watch this for eternity. I guess he had too long to think about it. It's like, you know what? No, F all that. And then I'm going back to what I did.
That part, Joy. So, because we don't know how much time passed between the events of the season 1 finale and where we meet up with him in season 2, because when he subtly recruits Peggy Carter and Kahori on the low to do things for his own, you know, for his benefit, he's been gathering up all these other powerful beings from other realities. So he's been dipping in other realities and snatching up, because now he's like, oh snap, I think I can bring my world back.
Not just his world, his universe.
Yeah. Well, world interchangeable.
What's her name?
Yes.
Universe. No, it's
it's to bring back his beloved.
Bring back Christine.
Yeah.
Yep. Good point. He absolutely fell off the wagon with that.
Yeah.
Yo, that was a great scene in Flight. When he saw that and he walked away, and then you just see him come back through. I was like, no, Denzel, no. That was good. That was a good scene and good analogy.
Yeah. Fair. But yeah, everything's to get back Christine and his universe. But yeah.
Like him.
But I will say his universe first and foremost, because he realized at the end when he was losing Christine that it wasn't worth losing the entire universe to save this one person who you literally could not save. Like the Watcher told you, you can't save. Like the Watcher told him, right. the Ancient One told him, like, you can't save her. Like, she's going to die. You keep playing with time all you want.
She's a canon event.
Like,
destination. You disrupted the canon.
She is a fixed point on the timeline.
Yeah.
And all I kept thinking about was the Popewood truck in Final Destination.
Oh
She's
my
gonna
gosh.
die.
You can't cheat death.
Oh gosh, that stupid series actually looped itself back around to the first movie. Furious episodes like oh, I'm sorry, Simone. Were you done recapping?
Yeah, I was done. Real quick, the saddest part. Well, another happy part is that how they made Peggy like the go-to woman, because she was basically kick-ass. I'm like, damn, Peggy, you should be. Well, she is not a mutant, but she is a super soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Just the fighting, the cartoon fighting, the real life fighting. I just really enjoyed her and how they made her, the Watcher made her the center point of the whole story. But also sad that she kept losing Steve, no matter what reality or what universe she was in. She kept losing Steve.
Yeah, that was gut wrenching. To watch her bounce between multiple universes and just basically just lose him over and over again.
I'd have stopped.
Like the dude can't be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you never even got to kiss him.
And because of that, the minute I see him, we getting it in. Give me 5 minutes. I'll be right back. I need to find out what this is like before I do anything else. And imagine she come back like, I've been all over 7 universes for that. Oh, man.
That was most definitely not America's ass.
Teresa wins the internet.
Oh gosh.
Teresa wins the internet.
Oh, bad. Oh, Furious, your thoughts on season 2?
I loved it. My absolute favorite episode was What If Happy Hogan Saved Christmas? It was my absolute favorite. I love the fact that certain parts of him are turning Hulk-like and he can't control it. And he ends up being... I love the fact that in the MCU proper, Happy is sort of kind of saving the day in the background. But in this, he got to be in the foreground, save everybody, and you got to see it. And I love how towards the end, nobody was really certain at first when they saw him that it was Happy, but then they finally figured it out. That was just my favorite episode. One episode of note that I really enjoyed was 1602, because I know not everybody on here is a comic book reader, but Marvel actually has a 1602 storyline that is just like the 1602 episode. It's the Avengers, but in that time period. And if you're ever looking for something to read and you see it somewhere, it's a really good read. But you don't have to. It's just one of those things that, it's more background information on what they did for this particular episode. But yeah, so yeah, that was one that I thought was of note. And while I'm sitting here, I have to say, Kahori is not a Choctaw like I was thinking. She is Mohican.
Okay.
So that kind of where I was thinking they were dipping their toe in it, they're not really, because they were two different nations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, two different nations.
My understanding is they got assistance from the Mohican.
Yes,
they
did.
On the language and the customs, etc. Yeah,
they did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, which I thought was really, really cool that they reached out to actually do it properly.
Yeah,
because too many times they'll just grab somebody's particular culture and won't treat it,
and just put Johnny Depp in some jeans. What?
Yeah. Peter Quill episode. I enjoyed seeing that version. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed season 2. And I enjoyed the buddy cop episode as well. That one was just too funny. That was one thing I really enjoyed with this particular season, is they amped up the humor a little bit without trying to make it knee slapping funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that, because like James, I love animation as well, but it doesn't always have to be hardcore and serious all the time. you can tell a good story that is a mature story with a little bit of humor, and it still come out nicely.
And see, I usually, even though I like animation and I like superhero movies, I generally can't I can't stay with superhero animation usually. And I had a problem with that with What If season 1. It took me literally at least 5 times to get through that Doctor Strange episode. I fell asleep on it. I just couldn't do it anymore. I finally got through it probably Monday and finished season 1 and watched season 2. But I'm glad I finally did get through the Doctor Strange episode because the zombie episode was straight fire.
Yes.
Fire. That's my favorite episode of the whole series. I loved that.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
But of season 2, I'm going to have to go with Furious on the Happy Hogan Saves Christmas because I am a huge Die Hard fan.
Yes.
And I was quoting Die Hard the whole time.
There you go.
Because that was the Die Hard episode.
It was the Die Hard episode, yup.
And it was great. It was
even down to the glass and the bare feet.
Yes.
Right.
But for some reason, it bothered me that when Happy took the Hulk serum, he turned purple and not green. I had a problem with that.
It's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh. She-Hulk is green.
Right.
Familial DNA.
True. But still.
Okay.
No, not just that, but she's got his blood, literally his blood running
directly.
Yeah.
Transfusion.
And also, that's not how that worked. But okay.
Sure, but I
go off science.
Right.
I mean, that's
pseudoscience.
That's the sticking point for a movie about a woman who turns into a Hulk, or a show, I should say.
Shut up. I'm rocking with it. I rocked right on with it.
But she smashed Daredevil, right?
Yeah.
She smashed Daredevil. And sent him home with no shoes on.
That was make him have the walk of shame.
That's what I like. I really like She-Hulk.
Oh,
yeah.
But wait, Teresa, were you finished up before? Okay.
Yes.
So I'll jump in. What was your question, James?
Thoughts on particular episodes that stand out season 2? What if?
So my thoughts on season 2, I got to go with Simone. Like I watched the first couple of episodes and it was like, they're trying too hard. Like I wasn't into it. I went away from it for like a month. I came back and did everything from Kahori forward, like Sunday, crammed it in and fell asleep on it because I had been up for some weird, stupid reason. I had been up till 6 a.m.
We're not going to talk about that. I'm traumatized too. We're not going to talk about that.
We did a raid in Destiny till 6 a.m. And so Sunday I sat on my couch and I thought I watched it. Then I couldn't remember none of it. And I had to go back and watch all of it again. And so my first thought was, this must be boring because I couldn't even stay up and watch it. And so when I watched it again Monday on the plane, I was like, yo, my favorite episode, because of what I do for a living, which is all like diversity, inclusion and stuff. And I do talk a lot about colonialism. My favorite episode is the Kahori episode where she gets some get back to those conquistadors. I was loving it. I was loving it. Take your ass on back where you belong. Speed on before you get peed on. That's what they should have named that episode.
Oh man. It's not the answer, but it is a solution.
Yes.
My only issue with that episode is it was in I don't want to missay what native language it was in, but it was in that language and Spanish. So I had to pay attention the whole time. And I'm not used to doing that. I usually got 2 or 3 other things going while I'm watching TV, phone in one hand, iPad in the other one. But I had to put them down and pay attention and read the subtitles. So that I kind of felt handcuffed.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Because I watch everything with subtitles because I don't know, I'm old, my hearing is going. But I everything I watch now is either a K-drama that's subtitled or anime that's subtitled or English with subtitles, so I can catch words that I miss.
Yeah.
So I noticed that there was some in white and some in yellow when they were speaking, that language of Spanish. But I feel you. If you're not used to that, it becomes distracting almost to have to look down and read until you.
Because read slowly, so I'm reading the whole time, so I'm missing what's the action that's going on.
Yeah, I feel you.
That's why I hate.
No, go ahead, Furious.
No, I'm sorry. No, go ahead, James. No, go ahead.
No, for me, again, thoroughly enjoyed all of season 2. Again, I'm hard pressed to find anything negative about it. If I have to have a knock, it's probably the Tony Stark episode falling into the Grandmaster's world. Entertaining as it was, because overall I was entertained.
Mm-hmm.
Are you not entertained?
I know, right?
Because I mean,
that's exactly what I saw.
It was a cross between, that episode was pretty much a cross between like Mad Max meets like Doc Brown from Back to the Future type thing, like if he like felt like when he falls back into like the Midwest and has to like make do with steam engine technology, of the time to try to, get back home and then decides I'm gonna stay here and tell Marty not come for me. But, again, like I said, the whole race aspect of it reminded me of a Mad Max movie. And I guess the only downside was like Marvel made such a big deal of this episode being left out of season 1. I'm like, I'm still not even sure how it fits into season 1 other than Nebula confronting Thanos at the end. And I'm like, wait.
Well, wait. The Tony Stark episode was supposed to be in season 1?
Yes.
That didn't fit at all.
Exactly.
Was Tony Stark even in?
No, it's Gamora.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she was.
Valkyrie was badass. Mm-hmm.
Valkyrie's badass everywhere she goes.
Yeah.
But no, so remember season 1 when the Avengers of the multiverse are brought together, we don't know where Gamora comes from because she's carrying that big giant sword that Thanos used in Infinity War. Or Endgame, if you will. Yeah, Infinity War and Endgame. And she has it. So we're like, well, where did she come from? How did she get it? This episode is how she links up with them. Because at the end, she's bringing Tony Stark to Thanos as like, hey, this is the human on Earth that screwed up your whole invasion plan type thing, but they're baiting Thanos. So she ends up killing him. But I'm like, if this is the episode that was supposed to be in season 1, y'all did this wrong because it focused more on Tony Stark. And I get it. She was chasing him down much of the episode. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like I didn't get enough of her. Mm-hmm. If she was supposed to be the one that ultimately ends up with the Avengers of the multiverse, it was more so focused on Stark.
James, check the comments. They're telling us it was the start of Gamora's story.
Yes, I see that, but even still, she wasn't even the focal point of the episode. Like I get that it's the start of her story as far as how she gets to that point to where, she takes down Thanos. It would have been better if the story was actually focused on her and not Stark having to deal with the Grandmaster shenanigans.
Well, that's why they cut it. Because if you think about it, Stark, that episode doesn't fit in season 2 either, because that never shows up again in the wrap up at the end where they decided. Okay, so one other thing I want to talk about is the last episode. I felt like Captain Carter was like, she was like if y'all ever play video games with James, he does all these side quests first so he can be overpowered when he fights the boss. So her sitting there with the sword and the helmet and the crystals and everything, I was like, she's OP right now, and made quick work of it. So that was what she did. She did a lot of side quests in 1602. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Furious can attest to this. Wait, where is he? Furious can attest to this. You're playing Spider-Man 2. What was the first advice I told you before you started playing?
Do all the side quests.
And why?
Because it makes the boss battles that much easier.
Thank you. because if you play the game normally, the boss will kick your ass. So yes, side quests and overpower is great because
it's two different methodologies.
I'm just saying, why step on an ant when you can blow it up with a rocket?
Overkill.
No such thing.
Overkill is the best kill.
No such thing.
That's.
I'm sorry, I got us on this.
no such thing
That
as
is
overkill.
a waste of ammunition. I am not going to blow you up if I can step on you, and I use that to blow something else up.
Nope. No. I'm sorry. I'm with James.
Strategically kill. You just don't just because you have it. See, that's why you men just because you have
that's
it.
why y'all shouldn't run the world. Y'all be doing the most.
Yes.
Why we're only talking about video games. We're only talking about video games.
We didn't say we wouldn't use it. We say we wouldn't waste it.
But it's not wasted. It's being used.
It's being used
inefficiently.
It's being used. Period. End of sentence.
Right. Yes, Simone. Yes, you're right.
It's like you kill your enemy, you cut their head off, you put their head on a pike outside.
I was going to say where logic doesn't belong in this conversation. Evidently,
Furious, you can't use that logic.
Why can't I?
I'm Cuban. You can't use that logic. Not with me because
why not?
Because when Cubans like to guns is bullshit. We want to cut your throat and look in your eyes.
Okay.
And feel your heart stop.
There is something to that. The intimacy of killing somebody with a blade. You got to get up close to them. You can look them in the eye. You can feel their body get colder.
Yes.
You know, sniping somebody from a mile away is impersonal and can be cowardly.
That's a pussy fight.
Right. Not to mention, you got to overpower me to stab me. I'm not going to stand there and let you do it.
Well, Simone, let me ask you this. Would you rather slit somebody's neck with a pocket knife or a machete?
How did we get here? Partially my fault.
Pocket knife. You're talking to a Cuban. Why am I going to do a machete?
The Jamaicans might do machetes.
See, I want the machete.
You okay? But see, that's
You're welcome, Toya. You're welcome. Okay, so back to season 2. What if? I will say though, the first episode would have Nebula joined the Nova Corps. That was a standout episode for me. Yes, again, we talked about Captain Carter and the Kahori and all that at the end of this. Gamora at the beginning, like it was like training day, day one on the job. You know, going through doing everything the right way, only to find out your boss is the bad guy.
Yep.
James, let me interject real quick with you on that episode. I love the fact that they really show how the Nova Corps actually exists as beat cops, not as Nova in the comics and a superhero. They show like the Nova Corps are essentially the planet's police force, and I love that. I
mean, yeah, because you again, for the context of the visual medium, we're seeing it, the movies and now this show, they're going to scale it down from what we're accustomed to in comic books and other cartoons. But yeah, just like I said, the whole vibe, like it had the whole training day vibe, just her just going around and just like, here are the rules. You got your training, go out, solve this murder. And the person who sent you out to solve the murder is behind every fucking thing to be right. Like the bad guy's the one who just sent you out on this mission, hoping you get killed in the process.
Yup.
So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that entire dynamic of that episode. Like for me, again, love Kahori waxing the Spaniards because I mean I could watch that all day, but there's something about just the whole, you know, first day going through doing, you know, following quote your training and everything, and just to find out that not to say that like it, because this is the beginning of how you question everything you know. It's like, so just the whole journey that she was going through throughout that episode was just, I enjoyed that because it's like, yeah, you can see that, you know, there's more going on here from the very onset or whatever, but you don't expect it to be Nova Prime. Like, you know, somebody in Nova Corps ain't right, but
I knew it was her.
But Nova Prime, really?
Yes, the minute I saw it, I was like, she did it. This is her. Glenn Close ain't.
But she's stupid because how you gonna trust somebody because you know that she's the best, and then you gonna be surprised that she survived. She's the best. That's why you put her there in the first place.
Again, great episode.
It makes sense. I'm like, okay, whatever.
The Peter Quill episode, that boy needed a hug.
Yeah.
Ass whooping.
I mean that too. The ass whooping goes without saying. He needed a hug.
Ass whooping first, though.
Fair.
And then a hug. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was just wild for no reason whatsoever. But yeah, again, hard pressed to find anything negative. Like I said, the Tony Stark episode is probably the only thing I really have anything negative to say about, but I was still entertained by the race, if nothing else, because I mean, he came out there with a little small gadget and was like, all right, boom, this little small thing I just took out my pocket is not my car. Okay, you wrecked that. Now this other small thing is my new mech suit, which is also my new car. Like,
and strangely, I liked that episode because, well, not because, the strangely part is because it mirrored Thor Ragnarok with the whole Grandmaster thing. Mm-hmm. And Thor Ragnarok was the beginning of silly Thor. And I don't like silly Thor. But I think maybe it fit Tony's personality better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I really enjoyed the banter between Grandmaster and Tony Stark and all the crazy stuff that was going on. I felt like that was more appropriate than silly Thor.
Okay. Fair. And
What
yeah.
you feel about Hela? Come on, tell me. Let's get to episode 7.
Well, before I get to Hela, because Hela was another good one. Let me backtrack real quick. The Quill episode, yes, badass kid. I will say the standout part for that episode was the fact that we got to see the bringing together of what should have been the Avengers before the Avengers we come to know, where you see Hank Pym still as Ant-Man, where you see Bill Foster as Giant Man, where they bring in King T'Chaka, not T'Challa because he's not born yet, because it was that would have been like early 80s, because right around when Peter Quill was initially taken by Yondu. So that was like 83 in the MCU or something like that. So everybody who was in, with powers at the time or up to that point, they were all brought together to be, quote, the Avengers, if you will.
All it needed was Kevin Bacon to make it perfect.
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
He's probably in there and we just didn't know it.
Right, Easter egg in the back.
Now,
kind of like Brad Pitt when Deadpool 2.
Oh gosh, Steve was invisible the whole time,
right?
Now, Hela finding the 10 rings. Cool episode, because I like how they pretty much do the background for what Thor Ragnarok was, with her being the villain, because you don't get any insight. It's just, Odin standing there telling Thor and Loki, I'm dying. Good luck going forward. And then
sisters out there. Bye.
Doesn't even tell them they got a sister out there. Portal just opens up, she walks through. Hey, so dad must have kicked the bucket. Sorry, I missed that. Who are you? Your sister. And now you die. It's like, wait, what? I feel like this context, there's something missing here. Like, can we get, and this episode gave a little bit better credence to that as far as the start of it, because she's running around with dad. They're basically ransacking, destroying the 9 realms, subjugating them and everything. And just kicking butt, taking names and taking over. And then Odin has
not
his
high
change
evolutionary.
Yeah. and of course Odin just gets to that point. It's like, okay, I think I'm gonna stop now. Like we've conquered the 9 realms and that's good enough. She's like, no, we gotta conquer more. Like, no, 9's good. Not 9's good. We can stop here. Like, And you got to learn respect. But wait a minute, we just destroyed 9 realms. Now you want me to have respect for life? How many millions upon millions of people did we just kill? Right. To subjugate 9 realms, and now I have to respect life.
Right. It's only evil when I'm tired of it.
Right. So her whole journey to meeting oh gosh, what's his name?
Wing
Wei.
Wait,
is it Wing Wei?
Wing Street.
Well, whatever his name is. Shang-Chi's dad. And meeting him, she still has her guard up. Because honestly, I feel like he's trying to connect with her, not really like take advantage of her, but she's so still in her head, conquering and looking out for herself and doing what's in her own interest. She doesn't trust him at all.
Well, I mean, I don't think she should, because he was trying to.
I don't know if he was trying to. I don't know.
In the beginning, I think he was. I think he was in the beginning.
Did they end up as a couple, or was that I fell asleep a couple of times, like I said. So
no, they don't end up as a couple.
Didn't, but that's what Win Wei wanted.
But they ended up at least fighting on the same side, and then she started to realize that life had meaning, and then her dad showed up
together, but they wasn't together.
Right, and that part.
So there's also my question about Odin. Did he show up like, "Hey, daughter, blah blah blah," or did he show up like, a power I don't have? Oh, and my daughter's down there. Let me go down there and trick her out of this, so I can have it. Yeah.
Well, he showed up because she couldn't be found or seen anymore.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it was like,
they did allude to it. I thought so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me come and avenge you, but also get this power.
Right. Let me avenge you by getting this power. Oh, you're alive. Oh shit. Hey, girl.
Like Eddie Murphy in the airport. Numsi, dear brother Numsi.
Shout out to brother Numsi on Facebook. If y'all don't follow him, you should, because he's a nut.
So yeah, that whole thing, like Odin just pretty much coming around like, okay, I want those rings now. Like, no, this ain't how this work. And then she finally does what you wanted her to do, respect life.
You try to kill her.
And now you have a problem with it because it's not working for you.
Right, because it's always all about Odin. His kids are all jacked up because he's a terrible father.
Very much so. Very much so. Any additional thoughts on any other episodes?
What made me that Hela episode? Damn, I can't think of his name. And it's not Fire Lord Ozo. It's his father.
Wing. Okay. Sosa?
During the first episode where he was walking through, and because of the comet fighting, he was unstoppable.
Ozai?
That's how I felt Odin was. That made me automatically think of Avatar when I saw Odin do all of that.
No, not Ego. Ego is James Quill's dad.
Yeah. But yeah, the first time in Avatar, the first time the comet comes, it's Sozin who does that because they name it Sozin's Comet.
Okay, so whoever that one who was fighting and
wiping out the airbenders, that was Sozin.
Was just kicking ass. I was like, okay, Odin's coming and they trying to do the same thing. I was like, oh my god, he's just like that guy from Avatar. I was like, oh okay. Just crazy how I just automatically thought of Avatar.
Power hungry dictators tend to have a type,
That is true. Same single-minded focus on the domination. Mm-hmm. Furious? Any other insight? Any additional episodes? Up. Nice.
ActivellyBlack.com.
I've been seeing ads for their stuff. You like it?
I love it. This is men's clothing because they didn't have this cool shit for women. They had little tight bras and tights and stuff. So I went on the men's side. It got me a hoodie and a long sleeve shirt and a Black Panther polo.
Nice. You didn't get the one that's from the movie? When the movie first came out, I got that one.
I didn't get that one. These were all like on sale, half off, like 3 weeks ago. I just got this shirt.
Couldn't tell nobody there was a sale 3 weeks ago.
It was a sale still going on.
Okay.
You know?
As far as any further thoughts, I don't know that we needed the Peter Quill episode.
I don't think we did either.
Actually, yes, because again, the heroes of that era and bringing them together, because otherwise they would have never met each other. I mean, Hank Pym and Bill Foster knew each other, yes, because they worked together. But outside of that, none of them knew each other. They even brought in, who gives Captain Marvel, how she gets her powers? Who was her mentor?
The father?
No, not,
the Jude Law dude.
In the movies?
Marvel.
Yeah.
Marvel, because it's Glenn, because it's a
is Glenn Close?
Glenn Close was the
Prime Supreme.
Oh yeah, Glenn Close. Yeah, Glenn Close was Yondu. So Marvel, yes, but she was also the Supreme Intelligence as well. But yeah, so they brought her in as well because she hadn't met Carol Danvers yet to train her as far as flying the new prototype jet or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So Carol doesn't get those powers. She reveals herself to be a Kree from another world because now she has to out herself because Peter's coming. Like that was the point of the episode, to show you all because since Infinity War, we've gotten these flashbacks to other people in different, from different parts of the timeline before the Avengers. So, even before, some of the movies leading up to Infinity War and some of the ones after flash back to that era where the Avengers did not exist, but some predecessors to them, either working with S.H.I.E.L.D. or just independently out there for the good of the world, were active or pseudo-active, if you will. And yes, Winter Soldier having not been rescued from Russian brainwashing. So, yeah, that just bring together that whole group, I felt was the bonus of that Peter Quill episode. Yeah,
but since it's what if, it's not the main timeline, so it really has no bearing on us actually getting the Avengers. I see the point that you're making, I do, but again, it's a what if.
Yes, it's a great what if.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, that's my only other thing.
I mean, the only downside is that Wasp isn't there because at this point she's already missing because she's shrunken down into the quantum realm.
Again, what if we're not in 616?
Maybe they got divorced.
But yeah, that's my only kind of to it.
I mean, because Hope is the one that pretty much subdues Peter to pretty much get him to chill the hell out.
Yeah.
Because they're both kids. Anybody else? Any additional comments, standout moments from any of the episodes in season 2?
No, I think we covered it all.
So there.
I will say this. I hope we see more of Kahori.
Yeah.
I hope we see more of Kahori. Whether it's in the next what if, whether or not she makes her way into the MCU proper, I want to see more Kahori, and I want to see more Echo.
Civil War what if? Okay. I definitely want to see more Kahori.
Yeah.
Echo?
Absolutely.
I can rock with more Echo. Not up front though.
Well, for me with Echo, I don't know. I think you missed me saying it. I want to know more of the origin story, because in the beginning they start out in that cavern. Something happens and they're born on Earth, but we don't really know what happened. So I want more of that origin story.
Yeah, because it felt a little forced to me, but I know that might be exactly how it happened. But yeah, I would like to know. Yeah, that might have made me attached to that show better.
Yeah,
definitely.
I was pleasantly surprised by What If both seasons, because I didn't think I would like it. And I can say for certain that if there's another season, I will definitely watch it, because for the most part, I enjoyed it. I think I fell asleep at the beginning of that Peter Quill one too, because half the stuff y'all talking about, I don't remember.
Well, I mean, I think they're probably again, Peggy will probably be the main focal point in season 3 because the Watcher has her. And I don't know what he's doing, but I know there was one part that was funny when the Watcher was like, what the hell is this? when Peggy got taken away.
That was funny.
He was talking, he's like, wait, what the hell is this? So I really, damn, what's his name again?
Jeffrey Wright.
Yes, he's amazing. I gotta see his movie.
American Fiction is outstanding.
It is amazing.
It's amazing. It's Oscar worthy. Directing, performing, best movie. It's amazing.
Yeah, it got nominated for 6 awards at least.
He better win something. They better win something.
They better win something. Damn it. Yeah.
I don't care what. They just better win something.
Yeah, I like breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah. Always a good thing.
I love how Captain Carter was like, I can hear you, right? He said, what, really?
I just hope that
not commentating on my fight.
I hope Strange is finished because he needs to sit down somewhere.
Well, else weird Strange, as he is noted as, he is done. He basically he did all that and ended up sacrificing himself to bring back his universe.
Okay. Now, you know what? There's something deeper there because he could have sacrificed himself at any time and brought back that universe, but he wanted to have his cake and eat it.
Well, he wanted to be with her and not just for her to have survived.
I disagree. I feel like whatever he had in him, whatever energy that he threw him when he fell into that forge, that was, I guess, the necessary energy needed to kickstart his universe coming back.
But if you remember when Peggy punched him with the fist of fury, she knocked all the other people out of him except for that one demon. So all he needed was him and that demon. Which means you put a bunch of other people through a bunch of unnecessary nonsense because you were too selfish to sacrifice yourself for the one you love. It's all on you, Strange. You suck.
Well, he did capture the most terrifying, monstrous entities from other realities. It wasn't like he was just taking Tom over here.
That's kidnapping. Mind your business.
But James,
and they had the dragon from the 10 Rings. I was like,
sure did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
was Dormammu in there somewhere? I mean, what's up? What's really good?
I felt like Dormammu. I want to say Dormammu was one of the things he captured. I can't be sure though.
Was Fin Fang Foom in there?
No, because we haven't even gotten Fin Fang Foom outside of Iron Man 1, and
we really should not. I mean, there's a lot of things you can kind of respin from a stereotype standpoint. Fin Fang Foom is not one of them.
Well, I don't necessarily.
So technically,
I don't need us to necessarily focus. I don't need us to focus on him. I'm just saying, like in that episode, since he was capturing all of these villains,
there was a dragon in there.
No, the dragon was from Shang-Chi.
Yeah. I'm just saying he could have been a background character in one of those containers.
Right.
Not that we have to focus on just another Easter egg per se.
Yeah. I feel you.
True.
Oh, and there was a comment. That was the total of him and his universe. Okay. But I think it was Rod earlier that said it was an interesting parallel that both Strange and Captain Carter both kept going to other universes, and no matter what they did, they lost the one they loved, except he let it turn him corrupt and she didn't let it break her. That was absolutely. great analysis.
Toya, what did you think was on Prime? Because I missed this comment. I'm not sure
what they come in a little bit late on the show, so we missed stuff. Why am I so pale? That's the next question.
How's your lighting?
My lighting is terrible. I'm in a hotel room in where am I? Madison, Indiana.
American Fiction is on. It's on Hulu or on Prime already.
It's probably for sale on Prime or for rent.
Yeah, for rent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rent it. It's worth renting. Give them that money. It is good. You are going to cry.
It's not in theaters anymore.
Probably not.
No, it's still playing in theaters, but not a lot.
Gotcha. Yeah, same thing with the other one that you need to see is Origin, also amazingly good.
Yeah, because
and it's down to like one show a night, so it's about to be out too.
Origin is
Dune comes out Friday, so a lot of stuff is about to get kicked out of theaters.
Gotcha.
Nobody cares about Dune.
Yeah, Origin is Isabel Wilkerson's story about how she wrote the book Cast, which is
I'm sorry if I weren't going to be out of town this weekend, I'd be there opening night to see Dune. I love Dune.
All right, whatever. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Barely stayed away.
The first one was horrible.
The first one was gloriously horrible.
Was just horrible. They shouldn't have remade it. It was just horrible. You don't even look like you skinny, and you look like you can't fight. Your mother is supposed to be the strong one, and she's whining. I'm like, what the heck?
I'm glad I didn't see this movie.
I'm watching the original because
that's what I've heard a lot of folks say. So I do want to ask this question because there are two left.
What's the question?
That's two things are left.
There are two projects left this year under Marvel's umbrella: Deadpool and Wolverine, which trailers are already out for.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the other one is Agatha House of Darkness, or whatever its subtitle is going to be, because it's changed 500 times since the announcement of the show. But if
they don't bring back that Agatha All Along song, they're doing it wrong. That song died. But it was Agatha All Along.
Those are the two big things from Marvel that I know of coming out later on this year. And we're getting Deadpool and Wolverine in the summer. Or we get late spring, early summer, and the Agatha show somewhere towards the end of the summer, beginning of fall. So, thoughts on either of those? As far as
sadly, only one of those projects do I care about.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't have any. And again, it's not that I think Agatha is going to be bad. I just have no interest in that character. Kind of how
I like it because isn't she supposed to be protecting?
The town
that still is here.
Not her town, the children. Wanda's children. So she's protecting them, and somehow this is how Wanda's gonna come back.
Okay.
So she goes from being bad to
an anti-hero, because she ain't gonna never be good. And I would have to say something similar, but not identical to what Furious is saying. Is there's only one of those two projects that I'm willing to give a pass to, regardless of quality, and that is Deadpool and Wolverine. Because I just want to see them. It could just be fights and one-liners. I don't care about the plot. It's gonna be funny to me, and I'll give them a pass. I'm not really expecting it to be that deep because it's Deadpool. The Agatha show, I hope they develop a good story. I hope it has good continuity. I know the lead character actress is amazing. So I expect it to be good. And if it's not, I'm going to be sad. If Wolverine and Deadpool is bad, good fights and good jokes is all I'm looking for. Yeah. My bar is low on that show.
I mean, I'm going to watch Agatha since I know we'll talk about it on the show. I mean, on the podcast. But it's just, okay, it's Agatha.
So do we have to talk about Hawkeye for you to watch it? Damn. I'm like, what's going to make you watch Hawkeye? Me coming to you to sit down and just keep your eyes open to make you watch
quite possibly, because again, people who don't have powers are not superheroes.
Just watch the damn show. Stop being a punk.
Like you, Simone. This is the hill I'm going to die on.
Okay.
Hey, Simone.
No, James.
Bring your knife. Come to Georgia. Cut Furious.
James, shut up, James. So
the
Simone,
pocket knife.
Right, the pocket knife. Look in his eyes when you do it. I want to see the light green.
I feel this way
about the knife Batman. On the Swiss Army knife. Do that one.
I feel this way about Batman, Hawkeye, Iron Man. I put an asterisk next to T'Challa. I put an asterisk next to Captain America. If you don't have powers, you're not a superhero.
They have powers. Black Panther and Iron Man.
I put an
you can punch a punching bag into the next room. That's a superpower.
But again, I said I put an asterisk next to their names because they got their powers through serums and other methods.
I feel like you gave kids. So what about Spider-Man? He got bit.
Yeah.
Who's
So he's not
left?
a superhero either.
Yeah, you probably have to put an asterisk next to Spider-Man too. But also, I don't really care about Spider-Man. So it's...
I don't know why you chose violence at the end of the show. But
what do you see? What is my name listed as? What does my name say? What does my name say?
Furious, the anti-hero.
It's my turn.
Anti-hero, because we didn't ask for this violence.
So
I always choose violence.
What James said. So Black Widow 2 is in that?
Oh yeah, I don't care about Black Widow.
No one cares about Black Widow.
Hey, I liked her standalone movie. I thought it was cute.
Then again, I also was the person who stood up cheering in the theater when Iron Man died.
He did do that. I was there.
Wow.
That's dark. Like, wow.
James, this Captain America Brave New World doesn't come out till 2025. It does not have a 24 release date.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2 projects left this year.
Okay.
Yes,
I did.
Latoya was there too.
Well, did you stand up and scream when the Queen died in Black Panther? Were you mad at that?
I didn't stand up and scream, but I cried.
Oh wow, he has emotions. Who knew?
Shut up, James.
He's entitled to his emotions.
Shut up.
We don't emotion shame. It's not nice.
James, Craven is Sony, and we
Yes,
do not talk about.
We don't speak about Sony. No.
We do not talk about Sony.
We don't talk about.
There's a reason that we haven't talked about that crap they put out earlier this month. We're not going to talk about this one either.
Oh my.
Oh, ooh! I saw. Ooh.
Oh my God.
I see with Thanos one. Because Thanos was right.
I put Thanos up there with Negan. Like, the only reason we're rooting against them is because we didn't follow their journey from day one. If we had been in Thanos's mind and what needed to happen, and convinced of the righteousness of his cause, Thanos would be a hero that just barely made it to what was needed at the last minute. That snap would have been a cheer.
Okay,
right?
but the problem
that's
with
what I liked about season 1, how Thanos was trying to convince everybody of his plan.
And and they were like, I don't know, man, that sounds like genocide. No, because what we're really gonna do, that was great.
Latoya,
Raven
no.
is fine though.
Latoya, that movie looks so bad. The fineness is not enough.
Right.
Thank you. Finally, someone else has said it.
But I did co-sign on the fine.
He fine. You're not fine enough.
Oh, Madam.
Mike Epps and Madam Web. What
about them?
Yeah, I don't get the connection.
Neither do
He's
I.
in the movie.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm still not going to see
basically,
it.
Mike Epps killed his movie career. Damn.
Mike Epps' movie career been dead, but
Yeah, I don't think it had an effect on it.
No, if anything,
Really?
I'm surprised he got paid. Yeah. I'm trying to hate on Mike Epps.
Only because we're talking about Epps. Is he still on? It's enough.
Toya's going to die on this hill with the fineness of Craven, so let her have it.
Yeah.
Hey, we all have our heels. I'm not even going to shame her for it.
Okay, Latoya, I gotta look it up because I don't know what the hell you.
That is much the same reason I watched the first Doom, because Jason Momoa was in it. I knew I didn't want to see it and I wouldn't like it, but Jason Momoa was in it.
That's right. Anything Jason Momoa was in, I don't give a fuck. He's
right.
I even saw that last Waterman.
Aquaman?
It was terrible.
Aquaman just hit HBO Max about a week or so ago.
It's terrible. That movie is terrible. Don't watch it.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
That's why I'm watching it at work.
It's horrible.
It's terrible. But Jason Momoa was in it.
While I'm at work. At least I could be bored twice.
That reminds me of what I was going to say. I saw a recap of an interview with is it Dakota Fanning that's in Madam Web?
Yes.
And they were like, so what did you think of the movie? She goes, I didn't see it. and then they're like, so what is it that you're upset about with the movie? She goes, there were a lot of script changes, a lot. So basically what she was trying to let everybody know is I signed up for something and they bait and switched me and the movie is trash. She kept saying, I haven't seen it. Not, I don't want to watch movies, because she watched all her other movies, but she hasn't seen this one. Ooh, who that?
Aquaman.
The movie was terrible.
Terrible.
But I still bought the pop because Jason Momoa was in it.
Mm-hmm. He took his shirt off, didn't he?
I'm sure at some point. I always see him with his shirt off when I see him. So I don't know what was real and what was my imagination. Black
just think of Khal Drogo. That's it. That's just Game of Thrones. Period.
Right. Khal Drogo is my baby daddy. My dragon baby. I have a type. Khal Drogo and Kratos. You see where I'm headed with this, right?
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Any final thoughts on anything else before we get out of here and shut it down?
Furious. What's going on with Monarch? I know it's way left, but I need to get you while I can get you.
I haven't watched it yet.
Why?
Oh wait, Simone, before you jumped on his throat, you asked for anime suggestions. I gave you like 15. Which one you saw?
James. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I gave you 15, 20 titles, and we haven't started one.
Wow.
And you jumping out his throat over one show?
Oh, the audacity.
Because you asked for stuff to watch while you was doing things.
You're absolutely right.
I know.
You're absolutely right.
Thank you, James.
You know what? I have homework.
Yes,
I have homework, and I am going to reach out to you Saturday and let you know.
Okay. Cool beans.
All right,
homework. Now you can get back on Furious again.
No, I'm
really, James?
I can't until I do my homework. Then I'll get on him.
What? I let you get away for 2 seconds. You on your own now.
I'm gonna remember that.
I did enough to distract her. What?
I'm gonna remember that. You
I
did enough for
somebody
me
to talk about Furious. I
just away.
needed somebody to talk to, and you
did enough to let me get away, but then you shot me in the leg.
I didn't shoot you in the leg. She shot you in the leg. You know, it's kind of like the thing when Spider-Man lets a dude go in the beginning from robbing the wrestling venues. Like he stood in front of him for 2 seconds and then he stepped aside. Not my problem.
I just need another geek, man. I need another geek.
Okay, I am going to watch it, Simone. I am. Did he give you blue eyes?
I already seen that.
I'm about to say she's probably already seen that. Yeah, we talked.
I already saw that and had orgasms. I already saw that.
Okay.
On that note, we should probably wrap it up.
Yes, we are done. Final thoughts. Anybody else? Teresa, Joy? It? Yes. No. Maybe. No. No. Okay. Cool. We will see you all. Wait, Teresa.
No, I was just gonna say, I'm not looking forward to Agatha because I'm not familiar with that character, and the end of WandaVision didn't make me interested. I'm gonna watch it because it's Marvel, and I might need to know some of that, but I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not a Deadpool fan, but this movie has me hyped, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
I might rewatch both Deadpools because they're on Disney Plus right now.
I'm probably gonna do that too, even though I hate them.
See you later, Latoya. Bye.
Good night, everybody. Till next time.
Good night, guys.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off, called themselves the Republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand,
Stuck between a rock and a hard place, multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe. As a part of their ongoing war with Asia, used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell. Even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell. Even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if you put Hawaii in a perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course. Cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe. As a part of their ongoing war with Asia, used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell. Even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell. Even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell. Even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell. Even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.